Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Today we're getting headlines about another police shooting in Delaware. This time it is a man in a wheelchair who is black. Let us begin by watching the mainstream coverage, then I will break down what I find interesting, Truth Seeker. The last time we heard about a police incident in Delaware, it was a police officer kicking a man in the face who was on the ground not resisting. This is the latest incident from the police in Delaware and the mainstream media.
23rd at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The Wilmington police were dispatched to the 1800 block of Lancaster Avenue in reference to a subject who was suffering from a self-inflicted gunshot wound and was still armed with a handgun. The arriving units located Jeremy McDowell in the 1800 block of Tulip Street as he was still armed with a handgun. The officers engaged him, asked him several times to put the weapon down and place his hands up. The officers again provided several commands for him to do that. When Mr. McDowell began to remove the weapon from his waist, the officers engaged him. And as a result of the injuries Mr. McDowell sustained, he lost his life. Immediately upon moving Mr. McDowell, there was a .38 caliber weapon located by his side. The officers who were engaged in this incident and fired their weapons were placed on administrative duty. They'll be out until this investigation is completed. And again, I assure you that there will be a thorough and complete investigation into this matter. The officers who responded to work that day did not look to take anyone's life. They came out here because they wanted to help our community. I assure you that not one of those officers intended to take anyone's life that day. And we're again sorry to the family that this encounter ended with the loss of their loved one.
This will be investigated to the fullest, and we will come to some resolution. We will take our time and do a very thorough investigation. And again, the family won't have to read the newspaper or listen to the news. They will be given information step by step, what we're doing and where we are with this investigation. We think that's the proper thing to do, and that's what I intend to do as the mayor of the city. For them to understand that we don't have anything to hide. We're very open, and we want them to understand that we're very sorry for the loss of the life of their loved one.
All right, so there was the mainstream coverage, some apologies from the police department. Here's what stood out to me, Truth Seeker. This shooting happened September 23rd in Delaware, which is the first state established in the nation. Only 3 states in the United States have gematria of 33. The first and last, Delaware and Hawaii, and the 6th state, Massachusetts. The numerology of 33 is 6. Of the first 13 colonies, only 3 have establishment dates with 33 numerology. The first and last, Delaware and Rhode Island, and the 9th, New Hampshire. Delaware, notice the name sums to 33 and the date it was established on, December 7th, 1778, a date with 33 numerology. The reason for all this 33 coding is because the United States is a Freemason creation. So many things of relevance have 33 establishment dates, including the flag. The flag was sewn at the address of 239 Arch Street. Kind of like the date September 23rd in Philadelphia, the nation's original capital. It's a history of numbers, Truth Seeker, and right now in all these shootings, I continue to report that all of the shooters' names are coded with 58 and 85. The man shot in the wheelchair was named Jeremy McDowell. They have not put out the names of the police officers, but just look, Jeremy McDowell, 58. In a time where all these shootings are being coded with these same numbers, 58 and 85. And as always, 33 is always coded into the shooting hoaxes. They so often involve police which have that gematria of 33, the highest degree of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. The officer we just saw talking was named Bobby Cummings. Bobby's the nickname for Robert. Robert is a 33 name. But notice that the name Bobby Cummings has gematria of 64, And as I also routinely say, in all these police officer shooting hoaxes, the numbers 46 and 64 are often coded in for the officer names. You know, this is such a tired script. It's just pathetic how redundant it is. The shooting took place in Wilmington, Delaware, which has gematria of 88. Wilmington has gematria of 55, just like Bobby Cummings' Pythagorean. Remember, 88, words such as poison and program have gematria of 88. The Trayvon Martin shooting, TM, initials of 33, GZ, initials of 33, that name GZ for George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman has gematria of 88. Trayvon Martin, of course, was buried March 3rd. Ever since that story, it's been an endless repeat of black on white gun crimes. White on black, back and forth. There's also footage out there, Truth Seeker, of the man rolling up in the wheelchair and then they blank it out and show some gunfire. I'm not going to show that video because right now my account's in bad standing for showing the shooting footage of the Roanoke, Virginia shooting hoax, and don't want to take any chances. But that footage is out there if you want to see it. You don't see the actual man get shot, but you can hear it or listen to it, supposedly. In truth, though, I think this is just another hoax by the numbers, another story in this ongoing narrative of police officers killing black men, and this time it takes it to a new low because they're shooting a man in a wheelchair. I mean, just think about how pathetic it is. Shooting a man in a wheelchair. I'm telling you, this nation would be way better off if we didn't have police. The police are not here to protect us. They're here to maintain all that is wrong. You're listening to the voice of somebody who was robbed by their neighbor earlier this year. I confronted that neighbor. Never threatened him. What he went out and did was filed a restraining order that an idiot judge decided to uphold. Then that neighbor who robbed my house, who had a restraining order upheld against me, decided to pester me, antagonize me, mess with me for a period of time. The day I finally responded to him and told him to fuck off, he called the police. A police officer came over to my house with 5 other police cars behind him. I told him exactly what happened, and I was arrested by the same police department who didn't do jack shit about this neighbor robbing my house. Ask yourself, what the fuck is the purpose of these police? All they do is write tickets and maintain crime. If there wasn't a police in this city, my neighbor would already be 6 feet under and justice would have been served. But instead, no justice has been served and I've had to go to jail. Just think about it. There's more to the story with my neighbor. I'm pretty sure the police were also involved in the robbery. I was growing medical marijuana at the time. The police officer, one of the responding police officers, was one that parked outside of my house almost every single day in the multiple years I was growing medical marijuana. He hasn't parked outside my house not a day since it was robbed, and I was robbed in a very tight window of time. Also, my neighbor, when I confronted him, the first thing he said to me was that he was friends with the police. It should be noted that my neighbor grew up in this town and he's 30 years older than me. But anyway, the point is, police are scum from Washington State to Delaware, all across this world.